Good morning, everyone. Hope I wake you up. I'm Ong U. It's great to connect with some familiar faces in the crowd, as well as newcomers. We also have a guest speaker, Keith Carlson, CTO of Relativity, with us, and he will come on stage to present some of the use cases. Before we begin, I would like to encourage all of you to scan the QR code to ask the questions online. We have Azure Storage products experts online ready to address them.
Hello, everyone. I am Lena Yi, Product Manager for Azure Storage. Thank you for joining us to our Ignite sessions here in Chicago and virtually around the world as well.
Right. Thank you, Lena, and thank you, Keith. We envision Azure as the world's computer. Our investment over many years came to fruition to make Azure the best place to do cutting-edge AI innovation. In the world where we envision Azure as the world's computer, Azure Storage is the world's file system. We will walk through Azure Storage portfolio, which offers unparalleled scalability, robust security, cost effectiveness, global accessibility, and seamless integration through its diverse range of offerings. Azure Storage portfolio is categorized into three major segments. Block storage, which consists of Azure Disk and Elastic SAN. Object storage, which covers Azure Blob, Azure Data Lake Storage, and file storage with Azure Files, Azure NetApp Files, and Azure Managed Clusters. These categories align with customer needs and reflect the organization of the storage industry. I want to go through the entire slide, but I would like to highlight some of the unique capabilities in each category. Azure Elastic SAN is designed to deliver superior price performance at scale. Elastic SAN is the industry's first cloud-native SAN, and additionally in this category, there are unique capabilities of block storage such as shared disk and zonal redundant storage, which ensure built-in resiliency and high availability in cost-effective way. Object storage is distinguished by capabilities like Premium Blob, which provides high-performance storage for latency-sensitive workloads and multi-protocol access, such as NFS and HDFS, that enhances flexibility. We have a comprehensive portfolio approach for file storage, where we have three first-party solutions: Azure Files, Azure NetApp Files, and Azure Managed Cluster, each addressing different customer needs. We also have services which go across our portfolio, listed in the bottom of the slide: Container Native Storage, Storage Mover, and Data Box, which we will explain some of these capabilities in later part of the presentation. Our storage investment pillars centers on quality and security, innovation to bring net new workloads, and optimizations for mission-critical workloads. We continue to invest heavily in security and reliability, ensuring built-in data protection, high availability, and robust resiliency. We are also advancing our innovations to support emerging AI workloads, scaling storage performance to meet massive data demands. Finally, we are also optimizing for mission-critical applications with comprehensive backup, recovery, and enhanced scalability for data-intensive tasks. And we believe these pillars highlight our dedication to a secure, scalable storage foundation ready to meet the demands of tomorrow's workloads. We are proud to have built a robust partner ecosystem that provides our customers with a wealth of options. Rich partner ecosystem ensures hybrid management consistency, enhanced data protection, and the performance and scale necessary to meet all application workload requirements. There are instances where an application may demand specific protocol, service management, or features that Azure Storage Service alone cannot deliver. In such cases, partnership with leading ISV come into play. One of the key investments is to meet the next generation workload. And we are pushing boundaries in scalability, performance, and integration with new technologies to ensure that our solutions are not just keeping up, but setting the pace for the future workloads. Over the last 6 to 12 months, we have seen multimodal large language models that can handle images, videos, beyond just text. And the multimodality of large language models is a huge opportunity for customers and partners to build AI applications and agents with enterprise unstructured data corpus. They want to use Azure AI services, including services like AI Search, to do just that. And blob storage is the foundation of choice for training and fine-tuning models, or performing retrieval augmented generation with exabyte scale unstructured data. And it is also deeply integrated with AI services. However, customers struggle today to put unstructured data to action with Azure AI services. This is due to complexity associated with migrating this data to Azure. And these complexities include data residency requirements, application refactoring, heterogeneous environments where data lives. Today, I'm excited to give you an early peek into a unique capability to bridge this gap between Azure AI services and your enterprise's data's distributed unstructured multimodal data. This capability will instantly connect your unstructured data securely into AI services with the power of Azure Blob Storage. No need to first copy or migrate the data. Just connect your live data and you are good to go. It will allow you to logically unify unstructured data from multiple sources of data from holistic reasoning. No need to build customer connectors or sync engines for different sources. Now you can run AI experiments and AI builds apps for your data. For AI experiment and AI apps for your data for holistic reasoning and connecting and unifying data through Azure Storage enable uniform governance for your data estate using existing tools like Azure RBAC. And finally, it will enable you to test and discover the relevant data for AI that you can choose to migrate as you go into production. We are working with our partner ecosystem to enable the unique capabilities of the customers. I invite you to sign up for a limited early preview access by scanning the code here or going into the website. We will show this capability in action at our session tomorrow, building AI applications that leverage your data on object storage at 11:30 a.m. And make sure you go to that session. In addition to streamline the data connection experience for AI training, Azure Storage is also transforming how we build and scale AI applications. Multi-protocol access delivers heterogeneous ingestion and updates for both AI training and fine-tuning, as well as retrieval augmented generation or RAG-based applications. I want to highlight some of the compelling capabilities of object storage on this front. Our integration with analytics engine like Databricks and Spark, Hadoop, many more simplifies data preparation for AI training and fine-tuning. Blob Fuse v2 with scale accounts delivers performance and scale for GPU node. Make sure that GPUs are never sitting idle. For RAG-based LLM applications, Blob Storage is deeply integrated with Azure AI tools like Azure AI Search and Azure OpenAI Studio, and even integrates with open source orchestration like LangChain and vector DBs like Pinecone for ease of experimentation, development, and deployment. Premium Blob Storage delivers low latency for RAG applications with 3 times faster performance and 65% cost saving on transaction versus standard blob storage. All these are supported on common blob foundations that deliver cost effectiveness with tier storage, resiliency with ZRS, RAGRS options, and end-to-end security with AI, intra-ID integration, RBAC, and ABAC. When it comes to innovation, we cannot leave this session without discussing about OpenAI. As a true pioneer in AI intelligence, OpenAI has revolutionized industry, pushed the boundaries of what technologies can do. Today, let's hear from OpenAI itself on how it accelerates AI innovations by using scale accounts in Azure Blob Storage.
At OpenAI, we have to move really fast to stay on the forefront of AI research. We constantly need to process more and more data more and more quickly. My name is Sam Hopewell, and I'm a member of technical staff at OpenAI, and I am the manager of the supercomputing storage team. In order to train the world's best AI models, we have to ingest vast amounts of data into our data pipelines. Azure Blob Storage scaled accounts have really helped us grow our data pool without growing our operational complexity. We have a very lean team working on our storage stack at OpenAI, and that lets us use blob storage throughout our stack, not just for training the large models directly, but also for all data pre-processing, data storage. Even our customer-facing applications like ChatGPT uses Azure Blob Storage for uploads from the customer, whether that's documents or images for processing by the large language model itself, or outputs from things like DALL-E, where it generates images for the customer. Those all go into Azure Blob Storage. In order to train a model, we have to do a lot of computation on a lot of data, and that's done on many thousands of GPUs. In order for us to make good use of that, we have to constantly keep the model fed with new data to process and learn from. This requires that we have consistent throughput from storage to constantly feed the new data sets into the model. Microsoft's Azure Blob Storage has provided a very consistent throughput. Checkpoints are essential for model training. They let us preserve the progress that we've made in training a model. They're particularly challenging for storage systems because checkpoints are emitted synchronously from all the computers involved in a particular training run. That's a large amount of data coming all at once, and you need to be able to securely save that somewhere quickly so that you can continue training. Azure Blob Storage has predictable throughput that let us reason about this ahead of time and then know that this will be successful in each new model that we train. Being able to scale our storage is really essential. As storage systems grow, very often there are performance bottlenecks that cause you to break them up into pieces and then have to manage individually Having scaled accounts has let us not have to build any of that infrastructure ourselves and just rely on Microsoft's solution. Anytime when you can hide that complexity and just let the customer grow organically without having arbitrary cutoffs makes the engineering on the other side much easier. The Azure storage team has really partnered quite deeply with us and support us in our scaling the system from smaller scales to exascale. Having a common pool of data across OpenAI that can scale with our demands lets us be more agile in our processes and more reactive to our researchers' needs. In order for OpenAI to advance our research goals, we need to be able to take advantage of GPU capacity wherever we can find it. So having a storage system that lets us move data around at terabit speeds across Microsoft's private backbone lets us get the training data to where it needs to be for our researchers to make progress wherever they can find compute. So I'm really excited about the future of OpenAI and the potential of AI to help humanity. The process of building bigger and better AIs is always going to need more and more from our storage systems. Azure Blob Storage scaled accounts have let us focus on growing our engineering efforts elsewhere and know that our storage stack will grow with us as we build the next generation of AI.
While our innovations in AI are transforming the landscape of intelligent applications, another critical area where Azure Storage is driving innovation is support for stateful containers. As businesses increasingly adopt containerized applications, there is a growing demand for robust, reliable storage solutions tailored to handle stateful data across dynamic environments. Azure Container Storage is a cutting-edge, software-defined storage solution tailored for Kubernetes. Azure is the first cloud provider to offer native Kubernetes volume support on ephemeral disk, including a comprehensive set of Kubernetes features. These are dynamic volume creation and snapshot support on locally attached storage. This allows you to achieve top performance on local NVMe drives with ultra-low sub-millisecond latency and hundreds of thousands of IOPS for hosting latency-sensitive transactional workloads on Azure Kubernetes Service. Additionally, we offer replication support on ephemeral disk, offering best-in-class resiliency against node failure, where Lina will give us a live demo showing this capability.
Thanks, Song. Now I'll demo how you can leverage Azure Container Storage's unique capabilities to build stateful applications on local NVMe storage using a streaming application as our sample workload. Enabling replication creates 3 or 5 copies of your data on local nodes within or cross zones, ensuring that your data is resilient in the case of outages while still maintaining the high performance and low latency of local storage. For this demo, I'm going to be running a streaming application on top of my Azure Container Storage configuration. I'm streaming a movie here that's going to keep playing in the corners so that you can see that there's no interruption, even through downtime. Okay, the video started. All right, you can see my configuration in the top pane. I have 4 nodes, 3 nodes in AKS Node Pool 1 and 1 in AKS Node Pool 2. My pod's currently running out of the node in the second AKS node pool, so I'll go ahead and run a command in the shell in the bottom pane to delete it. As you can see in the top pane, when the application node loses its connection, a new API and container is automatically being created. And once that's done, in the bottom pane, I'll exec into the new pod that's now running on the other AKS node pool, and you can see that we have the same files and data that have been replicated across the nodes. In the top pane, you'll see that the persistent volume that is being stored has persisted through the outage since it is being backed by 3 replicas. And this entire time, the movie has continued streaming without disruptions to show that outages or failures don't impact service to your customers. Azure Container Storage allows you to harness the power of fast, locally attached ephemeral disks, which are included by default with many Azure VMs. With Azure Container Storage, you can seamlessly leverage this high-performance storage for your stateful applications while benefiting from built-in replication support that adds an extra layer of resiliency. Back to you, Wang.
Thank you, Lena. Now that we have seen how Azure Container Storage can revolutionize your containerized workload, let's move on to Azure Files, a fully managed file share solution that brings the power of cloud storage to your applications. Our goal with Azure Files is to deliver the most scalable and cost-optimized file solution in the cloud. And we're making great strides in that area. Customers using cloud storage want the benefit of pay-as-you-go pricing, but also need the predictability of provision costs similar to on-premises model. And Azure Files now combines both of the walls with Provision v2. With Provision v2 pricing model, you can independently choose the capacity, IOPS, and throughput independently for your standard file share. And you can create smaller volumes, starting with 32 gigabytes, and dynamically scale your capacity and performance as your workload grows. This approach enables both users building cloud-native application with Azure Files or customer migrating from on-premises NAS environment. And Provision v2 gives you more flexibility and better predictability on cost. In today's digital landscape, the ability to handle mission-critical workloads efficiently and reliability is critical. Microsoft Azure has made significant improvement and progress in optimizing our storage solutions to meet demanding needs for enterprises. And these optimizations ensure that your application remain highly available, secure, performant, and scalable even under the most challenging conditions. Let's look at some of our investment in this category. Azure Disk Storage is a critical component of our cloud infrastructure that provides high-performance scale, reliable block storage system for your mission-critical applications. Let's look at some of the capabilities that we recently introduced in Premium v2 and UltraDisk. First, we have made significant improvements to the backup and disaster recovery experience for Premium v2 and UltraDisk, introducing Azure native fully managed support via Azure Backup and Azure Site Recovery, making it easier for all of you to protect your workloads. Built on top of incremental snapshot, we recently offer regional disaster recovery, allowing you to protect against regional disaster by copying data from Premium v2 and UltraDisk to any region of your choice. It adds an extra layer of resiliency for your critical data. With this solution, you can protect your virtual machine and disk with just a single click, making backup effortless. While Azure Disk is a persistent block storage for virtual machine with the provision and deployment model tied with the virtual machine, Elasticsearch takes a step further by offering a consolidated block storage solution for best price performance at scale and enable on-prem migration to cloud. One of the key benefits with Elasticsearch is that it offers cost efficiency at scale via dynamic performance sharing across all workloads. So let's say you have 4 mission-critical applications sharing a single Elasticsearch for their block storage needs, as illustrated in the diagram. Normally, we provision with this for the peak performance per each workload. And the provision performance cannot be shared with other workloads even when it is not in use. In this case, the aggregated peak environment is 22,000 IOPS. Because traffic from all workloads don't spike at the time, they collectively don't need 150,000 IOPS at any point in time. With Elastic SAN, you can provision 150,000 IOPS on the SAN level and allow it to dynamically share across 4 workloads and achieve better cost efficiency. And let's see this in action. Back to you, Lena.
Now I'd like to showcase for you how 2 of the new capabilities we released make it easier than ever to scale up and out your mission-critical workloads on Azure without any downtime. For this demo, I've got a high-performance SQL workload running on our MBV3 VMs with 2 UltraDisks that I've striped to form a single volume. Here, my workload is pushing 400K IOPS. Here, my workload is pushing 400K IOPS, which was previously the highest VM IOPS limit. To be topical, let's say Black Friday is coming up, and I need to scale up to accommodate customer demand. Good thing our new MBV3 VMs can support up to 650K IOPS to remote disk storage. I'm going to switch over to the portal pane here to increase the IOPS of both of these disks to 325K each, and scale up the throughput accordingly as well. Scaling up on UltraDisks is easy with a simple one-click online performance change without needing any downtime or reconfiguration of your workload. And now you can see our application is delivering 650K IOPS, showcasing that UltraDisks on Azure is the only choice for customers that need the highest performance in the cloud space. All right, we've covered scale up on Ultra. Now let's see how scaling out is easier than ever on Azure too, with the help of our new autoscale feature on Elastic SAN. You can set rules to automatically scale up your SAN by specific increments until a specified maximum size. An autoscale policy is helpful for environments where storage consumption continually increases as the business grows. It also is well-suited for environments that conduct frequent backups and accumulate snapshots. For this demo, I'm using Elastic SAN to host my SQL database deployments. I'll do a get call so that you can see that I have autoscaling enabled on this deployment. I've set the policy to automatically increment my SAN capacity by 10 terabytes when I've got less than 5 terabytes left. You can customize the policy per your own storage management needs. As of now, I have 5 terabytes unused space, giving me room for more volume deployments. I'm deploying a new SQL database instance to a volume group. This deployment requires 5 terabyte volumes to support the database files. And this deployment is going to take a couple seconds here. OK, now that I've created the VM, I'll go ahead and create another volume group. I'll also provision a 5 terabyte volume and connect it to the VM. This will trigger the autoscale policy to automatically provision more storage for my SAN as the unused space has dropped below the new threshold that I set. Now, I'll call get on the SAN again, and you can see that it's automatically scaled to 20 terabytes so that I can continue deploying and growing seamlessly. Back to you, Long.
Let's now turn into another key storage solution after we have explored block storage. I want to talk about Azure NetApp Files. Azure NetApp Files offers extremely high performance, fully managed file solution designed for workloads requiring sub-millisecond latency and sophisticated data management. Azure NetApp Files was specifically designed to address needs that simply don't exist in the cloud at the time. It offers broad protocol compatibility to eliminate data silos while delivering low sub-millisecond latency and high throughput. It provides multi-tiers that enable flexibility in data management and robust data protection, all delivered in a cloud-native service. With our recent launch of large volume support, hosting HPC workloads on ANF can now dynamically scale from 50 terabyte all the way up to 1 petabyte. And I am thrilled to announce that we are also previewing 2 petabyte volumes available on your request. What is impressive about Azure NetApp Files? It's top-of-the-line performance. Like I mentioned in the block storage place, this file solution delivering over 700,000 IOPS, up to 12.5 gigabytes per second throughput. This capability positions Azure NetApp Files to power demanding workloads across various sectors, including electronic design automation, financial services, oil and gas, and many other HPC verticals. Now that we have explored powerful features of Azure NetApp Files, let's hear from one of our customers who is leveraging a wide range of Azure storage offerings to drive business transformation. Please join me in welcoming Keith Carlson, Chief Technology Officer at Relativity, to the stage, and they share how Azure Storage has revolutionized their workloads. Thank you, Keith.
Thank you very much, Hoang. It's kind of humbling to be here when I look at all the technology. Relativity is that company that you may not have heard of, but it's there when you need it, and oftentimes you need it. We're in the legal e-discovery space. And so what we have to do is we have to take all of the data for a matter, pull it together, analyze it, and our motto is organize data, discover the truth, and act on it. And without the technologies that you've been hearing about today, our job would be essentially impossible. And the reality is that with the ever-increasing number and types of data and the ever-increasing growth of data, we're constantly in need of additional capabilities like what you're hearing about today. And the really amazing part about the technologies that they're providing today is with these capabilities, we're also able to do more with the data with regards to AI and some of the other workloads that are required. And so like when you think of the number of use cases and the kinds of things that we have to do, it's an ever-expanding list. And the reality is the amount of data that you process, the amount of data that you look at, and what you do in a matter is dependent upon the timeline with which you can do it. It's dependent upon the technologies you can bring to bear. It's about assembling the data, et cetera. But when you're on the defense of a case, being able to look at more data more quickly to get better answers is of high strategic value. So taking advantage of these technologies has been a strategic discussion between ourselves and Microsoft, not just a nice to have. And in reality, if we didn't have these capabilities, we would be missing a lot of important facts in cases. And so what happens is that we really take advantage of pretty much everything that you've heard about here today. Our volumes are growing, the analysis is deeper, we have to preserve this data in exactly the way that we receive it, but we also need to be able to process it, discover it, produce it, analyze it. And so like pretty much across the board, we take advantage of all these technologies. And in reality, what I would say is that in addition to what you see on the slides, we've been able to have direct conversations with Microsoft for some of our key workloads, and they've been willing to work with us to understand our needs. And so it's really been a partnership as much as it has been just like a vendor-ISV relationship. So it's really been fantastic, and the things that they're doing really do work in the real world. Now, our data volumes today are big, but not that impressive, but we're actually seeing massive growth month over month. So in the last year alone, our usage is up 160%, but our general service usage is up 60% year on year, and we project another 5x growth over the next 3 years. So the reality is it just keeps going on and on and on. And here's the kind of surprising part for me that I hear a lot about from Microsoft. We've been able to do this in their technologies while reducing our costs because we've been able to more efficiently manage our data. So not only have we been able to bring more capabilities to the marketplace, we've been doing it at an ever-decreasing incremental internal cost. Now that will stop happening at some point when we get super efficient. But the reality is that efficiently managing your data at scale is not an easy challenge, and Microsoft has been able to work with us to allow that to happen. And so we have a lot of things that we're doing in the future. We're going to start, we already have started collecting data from AI models to be used in cases. We have to pull data from cell phones, chat, all kinds of SaaS applications, and the list just continues to go on. And now that we have all of this data, we're also using AI instead of human beings. And so the days of shipping legal boxes with a whole bunch of documents in it and maybe scanning them in to read them is going to go away. And there's going to be AI on ever-increasing amounts of data. So the problem's not going to go away. My mom was thrilled when I got into this industry because she said if the world ended and there were only 5 people left, somebody would be suing somebody and you'd still have a job. And so the reality is that continues to be true. And so personally what I would say is that this isn't just thought exercise, this isn't just cool features, this is reality. And when you really dig into it, the needs are there, the capabilities are there, and being able to take advantage of this really kept us in the game. I'm not sure exactly what we would have done as a company to keep up, because people don't necessarily think of innovation in the legal space, but it's happening fast, and we're able to keep up because of the partnership we have with Microsoft. So back to you, Al.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Keith, for showing your incredible journey with Azure Storage. Keith leverages broad portfolio, as he mentioned, ADLS Gen 2, Azure Blob Storage, ANF, Azure Disk. So that's a great success story for us. Let's talk about Azure Migration Solutions. Azure Migration Solutions are designed to simplify and accelerate the process of moving your workloads to cloud. And these solutions offer a uniform platform that provides comprehensive tools and guidance for every stage of your migration journey. And at the heart of the solution is Azure Migrate, but we also have other first-party solution, Azure File Sync, Storage Mover, next generation data box, which I display on here, and then NetApp Files Migration Assistant API, which is new here also. So we are excited to previewing next generation of data box, provide larger capacity, faster data transfer, and then always secure. The box is also displayed in our Ignite Azure Infrastructure booth, so see the device in person and close up. In some situations, Azure Storage Mover, Azure Migrate, Azure Data Box, or the ANF Migration Assistant might not be able to handle your migration needs just yet. In those cases, outlined at aka.ms, Compare Migration Tools, we have partnership with industry leaders that allow you to use the tools for free, migrate any NAS or object storage data to storage of your choice, and it will reduce your time and risk with simple automated tools. Let's touch on comprised tiering solution for Azure. Many customers have edge sites or existing hardware investment that require leaving some files on premise, but still can benefit from cloud storage economics by tiering inactive content to Azure Storage. Tiering helps limit or eliminate growth of expensive on-premise solution and provide a safe, secure, and redundant repository for your offloaded files. Azure File Syncs allow you to tier files from Windows File Server to Azure Files, and our partner Comprise supports tiering from all enterprise NAS solution to Azure Blob Storage or Azure Files. Comprise has provided a discounted offer in Azure Marketplace exclusively for Azure customers. You can save up to 70% on cost storage by tiering to Azure with either Comprise or Azure File Sync. Now that we have covered the powerful ISV migration solution, it is time for something exciting and something everyone has been waiting for, and then we are thrilled to welcome back Lena to demo Copilot for Azure Storage.
Thanks, Song. No session would be complete without wrapping up with a demo on Copilot in Azure. We're releasing additional capabilities on Copilot in Azure to analyze your resources and provide you with personalized and intelligent recommendations on how to optimize your configurations and reduce your costs to make the most of your time and investments. When you navigate to a storage account, you can ask Copilot in Azure a question like, how can I save costs? In response, Copilot in Azure will examine your settings and make suggestions. It will walk you through the configuration of a lifecycle management policy for your account. I can elect to either tear down or delete data based on its age or when it was last accessed. In this case, I'll choose to move data to a cooler tier when it hasn't been accessed in over 30 days, and Copilot in Azure will quantify the scope, guide me through the steps, and show me the policy settings for my confirmation. It also populates the Lifecycle Rules UI with a suggestion so that I can easily apply them to my storage account. Next, Copilot in Azure can now also help you diagnose performance issues that you might be having with your storage deployments. Take disks as an example. I can navigate to the disks pane and ask, why is my disk slow? And then I'll go through the panes to select the right VM that I'm targeting, and also the disk that I'm interested in. It'll ask me the time period when I started seeing issues, so I'll select the last 24 hours. Copilot in Azure then performs an analysis of the selected disk and identifies that the disk has been operating at the max of its IOPS limits and will walk me through the steps of how to resolve this issue. Their main recommendation is to increase the disk limits, which it notes I can do with no downtime through our live resize feature. It also offers me a secondary solution of attaching more disks to a VM. It can even help me fill out a support ticket if I don't feel that the problem's been resolved yet. These new capabilities are coming soon, so keep an eye out for the announcement and make sure to try it out on your own storage services. Back to you, Wong.
Thank you, Lena. So we highlighted a couple of key capabilities in the deck, but there are many things that we cannot cover, both first-party and third-party solutions. So we have summarized some of the recent releases here. This will be recorded, so you will have a summary. I don't plan to go over line by line. That will take another 45 minutes and will not be sufficient. And they are also coming soon. I think we are looking at horizon of 0 to 3 months, which is coming up. So a couple of features that we are excited on: network security parameter. From NetFile's perspective, in terms of cross-zone and regional replication is coming in preview. From Azure Disk, Azure Migrate support for Premium SSE v2 and Ultra is going to be GA. So we're excited about those capabilities. And thank you very much. We have some references, and make sure to do the survey. And also, there's another storage session tomorrow. My colleagues Wamshi and Saurabh will be presenting building AI application that leverage our data and object storage. And don't miss that session, right? So thank you very much.